So, some issues. Okay. So my presentation is about the concept of scientific world picture and the genesis of the world picture of comparative law. And first, I like the symbolic. This year is 100 years of Lausanne Treaty, well-known treaty that put the end to Ottoman Empire. And it's quite a symbolic to hold this symposium after 100 years after such a treaty. Because it's like the end of empire, and empire is also a type of world picture, and organizing the world, and the very word empire means the world power, and reorganize it into national states. It's interesting. So it's quite a symbolic. It's, for me, it's another sign to say that Lausanne has to be a gravitation center for comparative law. Lucas is not here, so it's better for me. Okay. First, before the slides, because we had to start with something, but we started with something else. I want to say that world picture is may look as a little bit strange concept because in comparative law is not so widely used in this form. But really, comparative law, or we have to say comparative jurisprudence, it will be more correct. Comparative law is creating own world picture. The same as theory of law creating own world pictures, the same as philosophy of law creating own world picture. And all we understand that these world pictures, the understanding of law and how it's functioning are different and not the same. And the question is, when we are speaking about comparative law and why it is quite marginalized in universities, for example. We are speaking that students from the first year of studying getting world picture that is theoretical or philosophical, and comparative law is understood as a practical tool. You know, the set of tools that you have to use only for practical matters, and it's not the way to create a world picture. So we are passing this role to theoreticians and philosophers. And are we sure after this that the world picture we get while we studying, and then while we're doing research and other things, is real? Is it close to reality? If it built on theoretical schemes, not as a result of empirical research of real world. And comparative law, comparative jurisprudence from the very beginning formed its own world picture. And that's what I want to stress with the next slides. And why it is so difficult? Professor Mehman Damirli said about different pictures of the world. I will say some simple words. Why it is difficult? I will show you that first world picture was created in physics in 17th century. And it was the final point for physics to be, you know, finalized as a way of seeing the world. So to understand the world as a system, not just some parts, we will do here something and here, but we understand the whole world. And it was mechanical picture. And we still under the pressure of such natural and technical science. And what we have to understand that the traditional world pictures of mechanical science and metaphysics that got the methodology, the approach from natural and technical science was objective. But world picture in the social science is subjective. So we will never have the objective picture. The second, the world picture in natural sciences and technical sciences is the picture of necessity, of the determination, because all is determined, but the social world is a freedom. The sense, the substance of the social world and the social sciences and the legal sciences as a part is freedom. And the third difficult thing that in natural and technical science, the ideal is impartiality of researcher, but impartiality is not existing in the social science. We have involvement. The researcher could not be impartial. He is involved in what he researching. These all are the problems. And another problem that mechanical and biological world pictures are to some extent stable, sustainable, but the world picture in social sciences, in social world, is all the time changing. Okay, but let us begin.
Full screen mode because people
I can if you prefer. It's too much
see, because online they see different thing from what you see here.
Yes.
If you could do it this way.
I hope they see some cartoons.
Is it worse now? Is it full screen now? No, not yet.
Here. Anyway, what I'm talking about that comparative law is, of course, by any means, besides its practical functions, have and must have and had the aim of a deeper cognitive significance. And the deepest aim could be and is the formation of own developing of own special comparative legal world picture. And even if we are not naming this, we are doing this. And comparative jurisprudence did it from the very beginning. And on 2 days ago, I had a lecture, and one of participants in the room now asked me what the sign or what the criteria to say when comparative law or comparative jurisprudence originated. And as for me, the main criteria, the deepest criteria that I haven't discussed on the lecture is the creation of the own discourse, the own fundamental discourse. And this own fundamental discourse is a building of our own picture of the world, the own world picture. Please let me do something. Okay. I'm switching to the next slide. I heard what Professor Demirli told, and I will not tell all the things that I wanted to tell. But anyway, as for me, the mirroring of period of creation of the first pictures of the world in the social sciences were some works by Immanuel Kant. And one is what is enlightenment? In this work, he put a requirement for humanity of forming own understanding without guidance of imposed metaphysics, of theology and philosophy. So the science has to be autonomous discourse outside the theology and philosophy. What I'm telling about post-critical Kant. It's not it's not the wide known term, but anyway, it's something like post-critical Kant. And as for Kant, scholarly search leads to formation of an order, both intellectual scheme and its realization that is not absolute and eternal, but relative and temporary, conventional as it rests on the convention of majority of scholars. This order is a world picture. Okay, and about philosophy of science, about Heidegger, most things I think were told. World picture could be seen from the point of view of history of science. And of course, I have named Isaac Newton, who published a work on the system of the world. It was a mechanical, physical picture of the world, and it was created in 17th century. It becomes a frame, an example to build other discourses, other disciplinary discourses, other scientific discourses, and the finalization of other sciences. And of course, I named Kant, and the important thing that he did, he emancipated and separated the non-mechanical sphere of the sciences of the spirit that are different, what I told in the beginning, and the pictures of the world are different. And we have in the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 19th centuries, the creation of disciplinary world pictures, and among them the legal one. Okay, when we speaking next about the world pictures, we have to name also Alexander von Humboldt, that who on the beginning of 19th century created the world picture of biology, and formulated the approach and the method to build and understand the world picture in the biology. His brother Wilhelm von Humboldt created the same for linguistics, and these models, both biology and linguistics, where the examples and you know were the base for creation of legal world picture of first legal world picture of the beginning of 19th century. What told Wilhelm von Humboldt in his different works, linguistical works, that languages could be only national. So universal world language is impossible. The language are historical, so not prescribed by God, but historical, and they are conditional of their development, but by spiritual, social factors. So this phenomena has to be understood in the context of whole social development of a people. Next, he conceptualized the process of the interaction of language. They could be, it could be differentiation, it could be mixing, other forms of interaction. And he created the principles of classification of languages, and the idea of linguistic families. by analogy with families of plants as a particular or special, or we can say group. It's not the individual, so national language. It's not the global tendencies of development of language, but the group, peculiarities. And he told that universal linguistic development could be also only the sum of evolution and in interaction of all languages. So the comparison is the method that has to be used constantly, and to see the changes and to change the scheme, the perception, the analytical scheme of understanding the language development in the world. When we are speaking about the world picture in comparative law, of course, we are speaking, we have to begin with Paul Johann Anselm von Feuerbach and his works of the first third of 19th century. So he stressed that metaphysical philosophy and philosophical understanding of law is not appropriate. And he told about the general and regular in the relation to the individual and accidental, and the need of building of world picture, not naming this in this way, but doing this. When we are speaking about early comparative jurisprudence, so about mainly about first third of 19th century, we can speak about three dimensions. Now I'm beginning to talk about the origin of genesis of the world picture in comparative law. So three dimensions: comparative approach in legal sciences, comparative jurisprudence and the principal element of legal worldview, the way of constructing a world picture, and as a cluster of autonomous legal disciplines. Some slides are doubling the lecture 2 days ago, but only some. But as for me, the most important element, the most important dimension of early comparative law is the forming of world picture. I told that as for me is a clear sign of forming of autonomous discourse, comparative jurisprudence as autonomous discourse. And it's not so much important if this autonomous discourse was seen as a separate discipline or not. It doesn't matter. The more deeper things and is the creating of this theory and philosophy, theoretical and philosophical part of comparative jurisprudence, creating of the vision of the world. Okay, and the basis for creating a world picture in comparative jurisprudence became the vision of a legal map of the world, formed solely from the national state legal orders as individual units, as territorial and total in their scope. They're realizing, embodying, and removing a person and her or his person subjective rights in this totality. The idea of understanding of national legal order and a nation at all as a unit that that covers, embraces all the interests of a man, of human. What were the elements of comparatist world picture and in the first third of 19th century, so 2 centuries ago? First element is the theories of national legal order development, or the theory about individual unit or in the legal development. Theory of the distinctiveness of the national legal order. Theories of general in law. What is general? In which form or in which essence? In which it can exist? Theory of interaction of legal orders, completely lost element of early comparative jurisprudence, because the next discussion was 1 century after this, and the next discussion was much lower quality than it was in the beginning of 19th century. And the idea, and one of the key elements is the idea of particular or group or special in law, and the theory of legal families that go in from this. If you are speaking about theories of the national legal orders, we have to say, I have to say that there were two theories. One was social volitional, and another was organic, and it's the same discourse, but it's more like different sides, the formal and substantive aspects, the formal and substantive sides of a single doctrine of national law. The social volitional theory of national law has many elements, but maybe most important element that, yes, national law can exist and can develop without a state, but only state given the final form, finalized the national law. So the law is national state law, and the law is created by conscious will of the society, conscious will, and this is important. If you are speaking about organic theory of national law, it's understanding of nation of something like natural population, and it's also about the will, but about if you are taking the words of Savigny, a tacit will that is going from the tradition. It's a will to preserve the tradition and develop the tradition. Anyway, both theories said about national legal orders as equal and autonomous units. What about the theory of distinctiveness of national legal orders? This theory was derivative from the organic theory of national law and emphasizing the material role of self-development in the evolution of a people. Of course, I will not say in detail, but okay, this theory stresses that peculiar or distinctive elements in national law are historical, and but anyway, it's a will not only to preserve in this the base of this theory. It's a will not only to preserve the tradition, but all the time the reconsidering of the tradition, and not just a determination by the tradition, but culture, and culture transforms the tradition. Okay, and anyway, it was stated almost by almost all comparatists of the time, not only German, but also Polish, Ukrainian, Italian, and many others, French, for example, that absolutely autochtonic law is impossible. So distinctive elements are not self-sufficient. Legal orders are open for interaction. Okay, so one element is individual units are national legal orders. But what is general? What is general of in law? Could it have a form of one legal order, single global legal order, Skynet, and other things? No. The answer of researchers, of comparatists of the first of 19th century was no. No way, under many discussions. The general could not be formalized as a global supranational legal order or complete as complete uniformity of national legal orders. So without one order, but all orders will become the same. No, it's impossible. What is general? It is immanent. General exists as a set of general elements inside national legal orders, interacting with distinctive elements. It is processual. It's not. It's not the result. It's all the time the process. So general could rise the sum of general elements, or it could be more narrow next time because of other processes. General exists in dialogue, and the forms of dialogue could be two forms of dialogue were understood in that time. First is internal dialogue. So when you understand what is in your national legal order distinctive and what is general. It's very subjective process, of course. And external dialogue, it's a process of arising similarities as a result of borrowing, correlation, not only borrowing, and competition of legal orders. And in this way, national distinctiveness of national legal orders could be understood in a new way. And in that time it was stressed, national distinctiveness is peculiarities of the dialogue. So dialogues are different, and you have different dialogues in different groups, in different contexts, and this forming your peculiarity. The next, so what is general? The understanding instead of general, some elements as common. So some elements are not worldwide, but could be spread in the groups. Could be spread in groups, and okay, and finally, understanding as general in law as an analytical sum of elements. So not special order, not something like this. The next, I will cut myself. The next was the theory of interaction of legal orders, and it was highly developed. And you can say the slide, I will just say that most elaborated theories. Yes, I am finalizing. The most elaborated theories were by English Jeremy Bentham, by French L'Herminier, by Polish Wojciechowski, and by Ukrainian Danielewski. Okay, the next idea that was very important is of a particular or group or special in law. It arose from contradiction, from proclamation of the universality of legal development and the study of concrete mechanism of interaction of legal orders. And it was embodied in the theory of legal families. That examples for base for these theories were biology and linguistics. I have told about this. Okay, and so I'm stopping. You have a selfish list of literature, and I'm thankful for your attention, and sorry for taking more time.
Thank you very much. I would like to